Deep Space Station Verta 9 had no windows. It didn't need them. It was suspended nearly 90 billion kilometers from Earth, far beyond Neptune, drifting right at the edge of our solar system. The station's only job was to look outward. Its instruments didn't capture beautiful nebulae or star clusters. Instead, they measured absence. They searched for tiny fluctuations in the vacuum of space, faint distortions in background radiation that hinted at mass where there shouldn't be any. Verta 9 wasn't large. It looked more like a collection of skeletal wings and long spines stretching kilometers into the blackness. Inside, only 32 people kept it running. Dr. Elena Park floated before a massive display, 14 months into her tour. The silence had become normal, and even strange anomalies felt routine. But routine could be dangerous. "Rerun the trajectory fit," she said softly. The station's analytical AI, Argus 9, responded instantly. Trajectory recalculated. Object designation, Chi 3197. Probability of natural origin remains high. The object had been detected 3 weeks earlier, first as a faint gravitic ripple, then as a persistent mass signature moving on a hyperbolic path toward the inner solar system. It was small by cosmic standards, roughly 12 kilometers in diameter by preliminary estimates. But it was massive enough to bend local spacetime, just enough for Verta 9's sensors to notice. An asteroid, a comet. A rogue fragment left over from planetary formation. Nothing unusual, really. But Park frowned anyway. "Show me the velocity delta over the last 72 hours. The numbers appeared, and something cold washed over him. Something was definitely not right. The display shifted, showing a clean, smooth, elegant curve. Almost too elegant. The object's velocity, relative to the solar system's center, was dropping. Just slightly, almost infinitesimally, but it was consistent. Solar drag? Asked Lieutenant Marcos Ionescu from the station next to me. He's our military liaison, technically here just for politics. But someone had to keep Earth's governments in the loop about what's out here in the void. No, I told him. We're way too far out. Solar wind pressure is practically nothing at this distance. Outgassing then? He suggested. But the composition scan didn't back that up. No volatile plume, no coma. That's when the ship's AI chimed in, saying the velocity change was within the normal range for gravitational interactions with objects beyond Neptune. Accepted variance, I repeated, exhaling slowly. Statistically, sure. But something about this felt different. What do you think it is? Statistics are supposed to be comforting, right? They're supposed to tell us everything is going to be okay. But the universe? It doesn't really care about our numbers. A scientist, let's call her Park, was tracking this mysterious object. She zoomed in on its path, overlaying all the predicted trajectories. The line seemed clean, weaving perfectly between all the known objects in the Kuiper belt. The margins were, technically, acceptable, but they were tight, way too tight for comfort. She turned to her system Argus and asked, "What's the chance this thing, K3-197, hits something just by random luck?" The silence that followed was heavy. After a long pause, the system answered. The revised confidence for a collision was 93.4%. Her colleague Ionescu noticed immediately. That's lower than it was before. Park could only nod. It was 99.2 yesterday. What could this mean? Silence returned to the operations bay, broken only by the low hum of systems and the faint clicking of cooling structures. The station drifted through thermal shadow, and beyond the hull, the stars waited, unblinking. Far across the solar system, on the sister station Verta 9, the exact same mistake was being made. It occupied a mirrored position, allowing humanity to measure the true depth of space, not just distance. Dr. Hiro Tanaka was on duty when the alert appeared. He barely glanced at it, another inbound mass for the catalog. The automated systems flagged it, gave it a designation, K3201, and started the usual battery of tests. Tanaka sipped his lukewarm coffee and skimmed the summary, completely unaware of what he had just overlooked. What was hiding in plain sight, waiting in the void? Mass like a mid-sized asteroid, high velocity, and a hyperbolic trajectory, meaning it's from outside our solar system. Something feels off. He asks his II, Argus, to compare this new object, K3201, with other recent inbound objects. Suddenly, a web of past trajectories appears on his screen. One line glows brighter than the rest. Highlight that one, he commands. The system obeys. The highlighted trajectory is nearly identical to the new one. Not just similar functionally, the same. Same velocity, same mass-to-size ratio, even the same deceleration. It's as if the same object, or another just like it, has visited us before. What could it be? Tanaka's coffee drifted from his hand as he forgot to secure it. Run a cross-station correlation, he said quietly. Check Verta 9's recent detections. There was a pause. Correlation found. Two trajectories appeared side by side, mirrored across the solar system like reflections in a cosmic lens. Tanaka's pulse quickened. What are the odds? He asked, calculating. The stars outside Verta 9 did not answer. Back at Verta 9, Park felt it before she saw it. A subtle shift in the background noise, a tremor in the data stream that set her nerves on edge. She pulled up the raw feed, bypassing the filtered summaries, letting the unprocessed measurements flood her display. What she found was impossible, a pattern emerging from the chaos of deep space. It was a signal, a whisper from across the void, and it was getting closer. The universe was about to speak. The gravitational fluctuations were weak, but they were there, structured. Repeating. Argus, why am I seeing periodic modulation? Clarification requested. The gravimetric signal, she snapped. It's oscillating. Argus 9 recalculated. Oscillation confirmed. Frequency aligns with... The station chimed. Incoming priority message. Park opened it. Tanaka's face appeared, pale against the dim light of Verta 9's control room. Alana, he said without preamble, we've detected an inbound object. Same profile as yours. Park's stomach dropped. How close is the match? A chill ran down her spine as she waited for the answer. The strange, rhythmic signal pulsing in the background, like a cosmic heartbeat counting down to an unknown event. What could be out there, mimicking their signal and heading straight for them? The silence that followed was heavier than any gravity she'd ever measured. Tanaka swallowed. Close enough that I don't believe in coincidence anymore. The channel stayed open, the silence between them stretching out. Two objects. Opposite sides of the solar system. Same speed, same mass, same behavior. Park glanced back at her display, at the gentle, impossible deceleration of the object as it slid deeper into human space. Tanaka, she said slowly, does yours show modulation? He nodded, like it's adjusting. Neither of them said the word forming in their minds. Maneuvering. The AI spoke again, its tone unchanged. New calculation complete. Probability of natural origin revised. Park didn't ask for the number. She knew it would be lower. Far beyond sunlight, two dark shapes moved inward, not rushing, not drifting, but arriving. And for the first time since humanity learned to look beyond its own sky, the void appeared to be looking back. The first rule of anomaly investigation was simple. Assume your instruments are wrong. On Earth, that rule saved lives. In orbit, it saved missions. But out here, on the very edge of the heliosphere, it was the only thing standing between rational thought and sheer panic. Dr. Elena Park clung to that rule. Argus, she said, bracing herself against the console, initiate a full diagnostic sweep. All gravimetric, neutrino, and magnetometric sensors. Cross-checked everything with the redundancy arrays. The station lights dimmed as power was rerouted. Outside, Verta 9's long sensor spines adjusted by mere microns, fine-tuning their focus on the inbound object now known as K3197A. That little A was a silent acknowledgement. This was no longer routine. For 6 agonizing hours, humanity's farthest eyes turned inward, questioning themselves before daring to question the universe. The results came back clean. Too clean. No drift, no sensor bias. Whatever we're seeing it accurately. Lieutenant Ionescu's voice was tense, reading from his station. I closed my eyes for a moment, trying to steady my nerves. Argus, calculate internal density. The ship's AI responded instantly. A 3-dimensional model of the object formed on the main display, a sphere rendered in soft color gradients. But the numbers, the density values, they made no sense. Say it? Ionescu muttered beside me. I swallowed hard. The average density doesn't match any known asteroid class. Too high for rock or ice, but too low for pure metal. And the distribution. I rotated the model on the screen. It's uniform. Natural objects are never this perfect. They're fractured, messy. Uniform density implies? Ionescu's voice trailed off, but I knew the word. Manufacture. The ship's AI immediately chimed in. Caution. Conclusion exceeds current evidence. But it was too late. We both knew what we were looking at. Then raise the threshold, she said. Flag this as non-natural. The AI paused longer than before. Flag applied. Object K31970 reclassified as artificial mass anomaly. Suddenly, the room felt a lot smaller. On Earth, this alert didn't go public. It went straight to the top. Within minutes, encrypted data raced from deep space scopes to mission control hubs in Houston, Darmstadt, Beijing, and Canberra. An hour later, a secure multinational channel flickered to life, one that hadn't been used in years. In a subterranean chamber beneath Geneva, Admiral Sofia Calderon stood at the head of a table. Explain it to me, she said, her voice steady. Like I'm not supposed to panic. An image of Dr. Park hovered above the table. We've detected 2 inbound objects, Park began. Opposite vectors. Identical mass, identical velocity, and identical anomalous deceleration. A murmur filled the room. And you're certain they're artificial? Calderon asked. Park hesitated just for a second. I'm certain they're not natural. As one admiral put it, they slowed down when they entered our yard. This immediately triggers the opening of a top-secret file. One so classified its existence is barely a rumor. Designation. Artifact Theta, discovered 31 years ago, hiding in an orbit beyond Saturn. What is the connection? Are these new objects related to that long-hidden secret? Let's find out together. It was found by pure accident, a strange blip on a radar survey of Saturn's moons. At first, everyone dismissed it as space junk. But then, someone noticed the angles. Nature doesn't make angles like that, so sharp, so perfect. The craft was completely dead. No power, no emissions, no movement. Its materials were a total mystery, defying every test we threw at them. It didn't corrode, it didn't burn up, it didn't react to radiation like anything we've ever built. We never figured out how it worked, only that it was there. Why wasn't this shared? Park asked, her voice tense as images of the object scrolled past, silhouetted against Saturn's rings. The Admiral kept his eyes on the screen. Because we didn't want to ask the question that comes with it, he said grimly, and because until now it was alone. Tanaka leaned forward. You think these new objects are related? Calderon met his gaze. I think we're finally seeing the rest of whatever left that thing behind. Back on Verta 9, the objects continued their approach. The main one, K3197A was slowing down. It was gentle at first, subtle, but now it was unmistakable. It was shedding massive amounts of kinetic energy, but there was no thrust, no exhaust, not even a detectable interaction with the space around it. Park whispered, "Space-time manipulation." Ionescu just stared at the numbers scrolling on his screen. "That's not possible," he insisted. Park didn't argue. Instead, she turned to the ship's AI. "Argus, model the energy requirements for this deceleration if it were achieved using known physics." The calculation was instant. A red warning icon flashed on the main display. The energy required would exceed the output of all human fusion power combined. Ionescu let out a sharp single laugh. "So, it's not propulsion, it's not reaction mass, and it's not drag. No, it's something else." The station chimed again, but this time it wasn't a message. It was a synchronization alert. Both monitoring posts registered it at the exact same moment. A faint, rhythmic fluctuation in local spacetime, regular, measured, intentional. Over the open channel, a voice crackled. "They're pinging. Not with signals, with gravity." A chill crawled up her spine. "They're mapping us," she said, "the same way we mapped them." Far below, unnoticed by the billions living their ordinary lives, two impossible objects crossed an invisible line in the dark. And somewhere in the cold equations governing their motion was the first clear indication they had not arrived by accident. They had arrived on purpose. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe for more. Phantom Static, where the phantoms speak through the static.